Welcome and see where it goes. You know what I'm saying? I'm here with a bunch of Negroes and, beautiful people. So, before we start anything, I want you guys to introduce yourself. So, we're going to start with the gentleman here. Please, your name, what you do, who are you? Let the people know.
What's up? My name is Leon. I'm currently a student at the University of Texas at San Antonio. Right now, I'm just studying business management, and that's pretty much it. But
Good. Business management, you know what I'm saying? Ooh, that's nice, that's nice. What do I have there? Who's there?
Oh, me first?
Oh, you go.
Hello, I'm Manuela. I recently just graduated from Rose Holman Institute of Technology with the economics degree. So, yeah.
Nice. And we all know this head right here, but
Wagwan, wagwan. My name is Victoria, aka Victus 2.0. Holla at your girl. I graduated with an undergrad in mechanical engineering about 3.5 years ago. Ooh. And I'm currently getting a master's in biblical theology.
there you go. You guys hear these people are doing great things. I'm just so happy to be here with a bunch of you guys are like kids to me though, because you know what I'm saying it's been a minute that I've been out of that college and entry level working and all that stuff. So, but yeah, we're very happy to see young people doing great things, and I'm proud of you guys. So let's get into this conversation
Like a real
because
dad.
you know what I'm saying.
right?
That's good.
Let's get into this real conversation because I'm just not here to just be proud of you guys. I'm here to really talk and see if you guys even deserve for me to be proud of you
Yay.
guys.
All right, let's get it.
Okay, so still in college, just got out of college, about few maybe 1 or 2 years. I mean, you're still studying anyway,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you're still in that part. So let's start light. What are what are good things that you like about college? What are the good fun things that you guys like about college?
For me, since I went to school out of state, I think college gives you a sense of independence. Like you grow up around your parents all the time, and so it's like they say what you do when you're where you're going and stuff like that. So I think it gives you a sense of independence of like I can make my own schedule, and I think that's one thing that I did like about college.
Nice.
Yeah, independence as well. Not having to always have to talk or answer back to your parents like, "Oh, I'm doing this, I'm going here," but rather doing it on your own time, managing your own time. Pretty much it.
Good.
Yeah, I think for me, I enjoyed learning new things, like learning things outside of, you grow up at home and you get taught the same old thing, but just being able to expand your mind, hear different perspectives, meet different types of people, and just see that like life is more than your little experiences.
Nice. Good. Yeah, I think back in my days, I can say it now.
Not back
But
in your
back in
days.
my days,
Not
I'll say that yeah, there was that sense of oh, I'm about to go off, do my own thing, not being under the scrutiny of the parent, like just under the eyes constantly. But that changed real quick for me when I got to college because I also went away of the country to study, and then that changed quick because it's like, oh, but that's just my experience. Like, oh, I want to be out of my parents' side, but then getting to the other country, I was like, I mean, it wasn't that bad to be
That's what I'm saying.
under my parent eyes and everything like that. It was frustrating sometimes, but it was great because I didn't have to deal with a lot. They can just take care of a lot of things. Now I had to learn all these things, which is great because it makes you grow. It makes you really face life differently. But there was just that sense of, oh, now when I'm gonna be by myself, everything's just gonna be nice, perfect. I can make my own decision. Life is just gonna be like the way I want it to be. That was my whole spiel. But when I got there, I was like, well, I don't know nothing about what I want to do
Mm-hmm.
really. So, I
Yeah.
still needed guidance, but he opened up my horizon. So, yeah, there was that science there.
Yeah, I was gonna say because me and Nelly went to the same college, which was out of state, and I remember being so excited. And when I got there, I think I cried every week my freshman year. I'm being so like for the entire year because like yeah, it's fun to move away, but then whenever you have to make all the decisions that you never had to make before, it's like ooh, especially in gray areas like do I go out right now or not? Do I hang out with these people or not? Should I study right now or should I go to sleep? Like it's like a decision overload, especially when you're out of state. So there's pros to it, but the transition can be rough, I would say. So
For sure, for sure. I So what's the thing that you didn't like about college?
the people.
The people.
Yeah, the people and sometimes the environment that you're in, that you're surrounded by.
Mm. Why?
Why? Let's say like for us as Christians, right? And me moving that transition my freshman year, it was like, okay, I'm open minded. I want to know and want to see what there is, what's out there. So as I'm walking around campus, you also have people coming up to you like, oh, flyers with parties on there. Oh no, we're gonna be smoking, we're gonna be drinking. Oh, you should pull up. But it's like, yeah, I can do that, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to do that, right?
Yeah.
And then sometimes you meet new people. You're just now like in a whole new different city, a whole new different school. You're meeting new people, and then they're telling you things that are like, oh yeah, we're going to this club, we're going to this party.
Mm.
You just met them, you don't know anyone else. So it's like, as Victoria had just said, it's like, oh, do I go? Do I not? I mean, like, these are the only people I know right now. And it's kind of like staying in that boldness and being like, no, deciding to say no and just stay home or just not get involved in that.
Nice.
For me, I think I would say the con of college was, I would say, playing sports.
Mm.
Oh, yeah, I would say playing sports my freshman year was a con. I would say that because I feel like I love basketball, but I think playing in college kind of like changed my experience because I got hurt so many times in college.
Mm.
And so when I kept getting hurt, like I just didn't want to do college anymore because I was like, I just keep getting hurt. Like I have to rearrange how my classes are, rearrange different things. And I was like, bruh, like, why am I here? Why am I doing college? Why did I decide to play sports? So I think that's one con that I would say about college.
I see. I see.
Can I add? So when I said people, it wasn't like kind of touching on what Leon said. I didn't mind that people wanted to like go party and do whatever. Like it's their life. The people make their decisions. My thing was like people's reaction
Mm.
whenever I didn't want to do that, or if I had a different opinion than the people around me. There was this sort of like, and I guess I'll speak specifically to the Black community in this. So don't come for me. This was just my personal experience in this one school. Um, like there was just kind of like a herd mentality, and if I questioned it, then I got backlash. Not even if I disagree, but if I just like questioned. So I think it was like I think it was like an introduction to the whole maybe like cancel culture, which is kind of it's still a thing now, but it was my first experience of like if I don't agree or conform to what people believe I should think or how I should act or what my morals should be, then people start there's just a lot of backlash. And I was like, look, you say you want to live your life and be free, and I want to do the same thing. I'm not even talking to you about what I'm doing. I'm just doing my own thing, but then it gets perceived as like you think you're better. And so it was just all that unnecessary drama that I was like, look, I'm trying to get my degree and get out. So yeah.
Good. 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 Yeah. Those are good things I see. For me, what one thing that I didn't like about college was I think you guys touched a little bit on it, but I was a knucklehead anyway, so it was just like that sense of everybody wants you to be part of something, and if you're not interested in that, it's like you're the enemy.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, no, you know, you can do that. I can do something else. We can still be cool for in my point of view. But there was just that sense of, oh, if you're not running with this, and it wasn't just one group. So everybody has some type of group, and then they want you to join it. And if you don't join it, it's like you're the enemy. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So I
That's
was
true.
like,
Mm-hmm.
and that wasn't just on the on the reckless people. Like even some of the Christian, like
Mm-hmm.
they'll have their societies, like Christian society or Christian group, and they will invite you. And if you're like, okay, I'm still a Christian, but I just don't see bonding with you guys on this thing. And then they'll be like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Oh, there was just that. It was like, no, we can all be here, all have different interests at the end of the day, be friends and having like a
Mm-hmm.
good common ground. So that was one thing that I didn't really appreciate about college. But
Yeah, and because of that, I feel like it wasn't until my junior year where I finally found like my friend group. Because I started off, I also played sports at the same school. So came in early playing soccer and also ran track, and they were fun. But again, it was like super nice people, still friends with some of them today, but just like different lifestyles, which is okay. So then I tried to transition my sophomore year into like FCA, but the FCA there, like again, like personality wise, like same beliefs with personal. FCA is Fellowship of Christian Athletes. Like we just weren't vibing like on just like a personal level. And then I tried to switch into like NSBE, which is National Society of Black Engineers, and that's where like all the family drama came in. Everybody and everyone's business because we went to a small private school, so there are about like was it like 3% black people whenever I was there or something. So that's only like 50 of us. So everybody knew everybody and everyone knew everyone's business. So then it wasn't until my junior year where I finally found this like other Christian group called Catalyst, and they were tied to like a Pentecostal church, which is a little bit more of like aligned with my beliefs. But it took me almost 3 years into college to find people that I really connected with. So yeah, it's like I don't know, just that's another con of college. Like if you don't find the right people, like it can just make college feel miserable until you do.
Yeah, yeah. That's funny that how everything started to just get into that faith, that faith sphere. We started by
Hmm.
talking about what you like about college, what you don't like, and then
Mhm.
now we here already in talking about faith, which is great because that's really where I wanted to go, and you guys took it there, So thank the Lord for that
Yeah.
seamless transition. So I'm gonna read these things. So according to the data from Barna Group, around 70% of high school students who enter colleges as professing Christians will leave with little to no faith. This suggests as a significant percentage of college students experience some form of faith deconstruction, though the exact number for this construction specifically is not readily available. But we can see like 70% of, they say about 70% of high schoolers who go into college, like they profess that they're Christian, they go in there, and then 70 of them, they come either with a little faith, some of them were like with no faith, like there's just that big deconstruction. Um, you are in that college sphere. You
Hmm.
just came out of there, and you're out and in a. So I want to have like that fresh take from you guys.
Okay.
What First of all, do you agree with that data? Do, did, the, did the data make sense to what you see? If you agree, why do you think it's happening?
Yeah, I agree.
Why do you
Um,
think it's happening?
I think from conversations I've had with people, it wasn't necessarily that their faith isn't there. It's just that the boldness to walk out in their faith and to show their faith is what's kind of like a problem. Because a lot of times is they want to do the things, they want to go to church, they want to live righteously, but like we were previously saying, sometimes the people around you, your entourage, your friend groups, they're just kind of like scared off, so they're closed off. It's like they want to, but because they're afraid of what the people will think of them, then they don't, or because they don't have anyone else to be like, hey, let's go to church. So to them, it's like, okay, you know what? Then I'm just gonna do it on my own, or I'm gonna act different so that way they can like me and accept me. But in reality, they don't want to do that. In reality, it's just a cause of walking out in that boldness, no matter what people think, no matter what people will see you as, and continue going as that.
That's a good take. That's a good take. Yeah, because I can see how that number can be still factoring,
Hmm.
like, because I know some people they just totally just cut off, but now hearing that side too, like, there may be some people just being afraid out there. So, someone have another take?
I 100% agree with that statistic because that was me. For me, I would say it was because of my environment. Like, I played basketball, and the people that I played basketball with, they were great people, but they just didn't follow God, and that's who I spent majority of my time with. And so you are your environment. So if you're
Mm.
consistently pouring into people who aren't like Christ, you're going to start becoming not like Christ. And that's what happened to me in college. Got a friend group. I was like, yeah, these are my people, but they were not they were leading me. I was leading myself by continuously hanging out with them, doing things with them, going partying, going drinking, like doing things like that, to where that's just a lifestyle that I thought was fun in college, and I was indulging in it, so I was enjoying it. And so throughout college, my walk with God, there was never a point where there was no faith. It was just very little because I was so focused on these people like me and I'm enjoying what we're doing because it feels good in the moment.
Yeah.
Afterwards, it wouldn't feel good because it didn't feel good. But during that time, I think I was just so focused on I have the boyfriend, I have the friends, like I'm just living the great life. But I do agree with that statistic 100%.
Like the college experience life, right?
Exactly, yeah.
That's what a lot of times they come into college with is, oh, I want to live the college experience life, and in reality is, what is the college experience life,
Mm.
right? And as you can see, TV gives you a picture. Movies, TV shows, it's like, oh, that's what they think it is.
Yeah.
And let's not forget, like, social media today in age tells us like, oh, you should be doing this, partying, you should be sleeping with whoever,
Yeah.
smoking, drinking. That's like, have that freedom and do all of that, the
Mhm.
college experience life. So I think that's another reason.
Yeah, I think two other reasons that I noticed while I was in college is people have this notion that like Christianity is like this archaic religion that makes no sense and has a lot of rules and is very constricting and is unwoke, is kind of like what I've heard people say. And I heard this opinion a lot. And so, but then I guess for me, like I would study, like, okay, the people who are saying that Christianity is unwoke,
Mm-hmm.
to be specific, so I struggled very heavily with depression in college, like really bad. And so did a lot of my friends. So that probably wasn't the best environment for me either, but whatever. And so, but like one friend specifically who struggled heavily was one of those people who was like, religion and Christianity is constricting, and I was in the church and I got hurt, or I was in the church and I didn't see any improvement. And for them, when they would say they were in the church, it was, most people would say, I was involved in the choir, I was involved in the church, but they never talked about their relationship with God. So I think that was the first issue. But they would say they were involved and it didn't work and it was too constricting for them. And so I studied the way this person who struggled with depression would live their life and their form of like kind of what you guys mentioned, like partying and smoking and doing all these things. But then the same person would be in their room for 3, 4 hours with the lights off, struggling and unable to even do their homework because like after all the parties and stuff, like they were still depressed heavily. And then for me, like, okay, it got so bad to the point where I was like, God, I can't do this. Like this school, it's too quick. I need God. So I'm trying to use the principles of the Bible, which, like, for example, like Philippians 4:8, I think this is like whatever is true, honorable. So like think about these things, or like Matthew 11:28 through 30, which says like, come to me all who are weary and burdened, I'll give you rest. So coming to God. So just trying to apply these principles, and like I was still struggling with depression, but I had energy and strength to do my schoolwork, to like, so there was like just a difference in like the quality of life. And so I think the problem is that some people have this idea that like Christianity has too many rules, too many like things to follow. But I think what people miss is that these rules are really just, in my opinion, beautiful concepts to help us live like the most maximized life. And if we viewed it less as rules and more of as like guidance, because God already knows what the best is for us, then maybe that would change people's perspective. But I think because it's viewed as like rules and like I'm just doing the religion and not including the relationship with it, that also leads people to want to dip out.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you guys are saying, but my question is like, do you think, because you started touching a little bit on it, Victoria, when you were talking there, but do you guys think that most of the kids are coming in the college with like a strong faith already?
No,
No.
I didn't. I think I think when you grow up in a Christian home, sometimes you're taught more the religion, not the relationship. Like I feel like that's what I like. I knew who Jesus was. I went to church every Sunday, Wednesday, every day of the week. We were doing something, but I feel like that relationship was never really taught. So I was like, Jesus is up there, God's up there. He sees what I'm doing, but that's about it. Like I never really saw him as a father, as like I never really saw that in my life until after college. So I feel like that's one thing that a lot of kids before they go to college struggle with is that God is he's just there, but he's
Mm.
not like really like living within you, like actually like walking with you day by day. Like I didn't really experience that until I graduated college.
What you think, Leon?
I will have to agree with that. I've also come to find out that for some people, it's just a decision that they choose to go into college without having a relationship. They choose to go into college without having their faith as strong as it is. because there's some people right now who I've met who are freshmen, and their faith are stronger than seniors that are leaving, right? They have that relationship, they've built it. And I think it ultimately depends on the personal choosing. Do you want to know who Jesus is? Do you want to grow that? And that's really what I would have to say on that.
Yeah, because I was thinking in my head, like, I feel like this question might come up of like, well, if people grew up in an environment where they were taught more of the religion, is it their fault that they stray in college? Like, I feel
Yeah.
like that could be a question that comes up. And I don't want to say a fault, but like everyone has a choice. Like you
Mhm.
may come in with what you people may say a weaker faith, but at the end of the day, once you're exposed to different things, not saying it's easy. I don't think any of us would say that college was necessarily easy for us. I wouldn't even say that like by the time I was a senior, like I was struggling with my faith because I had been in things that I shouldn't have been in. So not saying that it's easy, but I do think that there's not an excuse per
Yeah.
se because we all have free will that's been given to us. Does that mean you may rock it alone for a little bit? Like maybe. Does that mean you have to be extremely intentional and like really put yourself out there, even if you're a natural introvert like me, holla at your girl? Like, yeah, but at the end of the day, I think it just depends on what you value and what you put your priority in, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. So now, before I go to this question, I'm gonna go a little bit like we're gonna get a little personal. Manuela started already getting a little personal, talking about her own um struggle there. Anybody else like Leon? Like how is that relevant to you? Like how do you feel about that that's that stats that was giving? Like how is it relevant to you? Where some struggles happen, or
Mhm.
where what are some thugs that you have?
Yeah. For me, so coming into college, my faith was strong, and I was also it was so strong that at some point in time I would just cut people off. I would
Mhm.
separate myself if they would like persuade me to do certain things I told them I didn't want to do.
Mm.
And mind you, it wasn't a one time thing, but it was like continuously. So then I was like, look, all right, we can't be friends, bro. Like, watch out, bro.
He said, "Look, get out of here."
Yeah, like, but then I realized that over time as I kept doing that, the more and more I started to realize, okay, I'm really lonely now.
Mhm.
Mm.
I really don't have anybody else who has this mindset
Yeah.
or who's walking in the same ways. So after doing that for time and time and time, I would say after the first year, because mind you, in college you have homework, you
Mhm.
have classes, and then you also have other activities if you have activities. Like you guys were athletes, so it gets draining, right? Now and then trying to stay in your faith, trying to stay strong in your faith
Mm.
against, and then you're also fighting against everything else, everything secular, everything worldly, and now it's just kind of like it comes to a point where it's like, okay, you get tired, right? You get physically and emotionally tired,
Yeah.
so then and mentally as well, and you're just like, okay, you know what? You slowly start thinking like that's whenever the thoughts start sweeping in, and it's like, maybe this wouldn't be bad.
Mhm.
Maybe this, oh, it's okay. God knows my heart.
Yeah.
Oh, you know
Mhm.
what? It's not too bad. It's not like I'm killing anybody. It's not
Mhm.
like I'm not taking drugs. But at the end of the day, it's like sin is still sin,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And for me personally, my second semester, I'm gonna get personal. My second semester, I came in and I was a little upset at God for a situation, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do my own thing, right? I'm gonna do
Oh,
my own thing,
yep. Yep.
and it was like, okay, so slowly but surely, but I still had that faith. Like I would still pray, I still had that relationship.
Yeah.
So it was like I would still pray, I would still wake up in the morning, I would still read my Bible, but as if like doing everything that I was supposed to do, like as living as a Christian, I was like, no, I wasn't. So I went to my first party um my sophomore year. Yeah, and I was known as the kid like, oh, that's really a Christian, right?
Mhm.
And then but I went to a party and everybody was like, what? Like
Mm.
you're the guy that talks about parties, but here you are at a party.
Yeah.
And I was out here, I'm talking about jamming. Like
Man was out there.
every song, like, yeah, they're
He was
like,
outside.
exactly. It's just, and then that's when after that, it was like Victoria has said earlier, that conviction is like, bro, like people are doing that and they don't feel anything, and it's ultimately, yeah, I did that. At the end, I felt nothing. I was there for instant gratification. It
Mhm.
felt nice. I
Mm.
was releasing things, but right afterwards, I went right back to where I was at.
Mhm.
Nothing changed, right?
Yeah.
And that kept leading me down to doing some other things, and it wasn't until when was it? I think after my first semester, that fall semester, I came back and I realized, okay, you know what? I have Christmas. Let me try to really focus in and grow
Mm-hmm.
that faith back before next semester. And that at first it was going good. We came back spring semester. That thing went down. Man, what? I was like, bro, I came back. I was like, we're gonna have a way better semester. I got a job. And then I was also helping this a Christian org, SOV. Shout out to you guys. Keep doing what y'all doing at UTSA.
Hey.
But yeah, I was helping out. I was a leader, but behind closed doors, I was still struggling with things. And then I also, like you said, the entourage, the friends that I had at that time weren't the best ones for me, right? So I was kind of in between. I had Christian friends, but they also were doing, what they were supposed to do. Then I just had people who were slowly coming into the faith, but they were still living their lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, dang, where do I go? I'm kind of like the middleman. So some days I'll be at church, other days I'll be with them partying and on weekends, and it's like, okay, I was really lost. And I think that's ultimately how that affected me personally is like I was lost. I started getting lost because of my entourage. I wanted to fit in. I wanted to make friends who would be like me and accept me. So
Mm-hmm.
I started like compromising my own boundaries, my own standards just to be likable to others.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe something similar ish happened to me, but I I thought that there was something wrong with me. I don't know. I was just like because for example, like I really went to college with the mindset of like I'm trying to get a degree. I've never really up until recently like just haven't been interested for real in like dating and like the party scene and drinking. I did want to smoke, but that didn't happen at the time. Whatever. But like I just was never interested. Like I really loved school, loved engineering, like loved my classes, loved learning. So and everyone else around me, like I was content. Like people would go out on Fridays and I was content to have a whole Friday evening to catch up or get ahead on some homework. And people would make fun of me and I at first I was like, nah, they tripping. Maybe by my like sophomore year, I was like, is there something wrong with me that I'm not like I'm really here in college. I'm literally across the country from home. I'm in sports and I'm not interested in at least like trying to like go to parties or trying to drink. I never did because I just couldn't convince me. I was like, this seems stupid. But like at least trying to like date, like I was like, maybe there's something wrong with me. So let me just be open. So like try to talk with like one of my friends, didn't work out, whatever. Ended up doing some stuff that like I probably wouldn't have done before. And then like after that ended up getting in a relationship with someone who I was not ready, not in the right headspace and like, he had his things, I had my things and I don't think it was the healthiest for the both of us. And it lasted from like my maybe like end of sophomore year all the way to like beginning of senior year, which I think are the crucial years of college. So it was just back and forth. Like we were on and off. And like it was just hard because like he was Christian and like I was Christian. He was playing sports. I was playing sports. So everyone was like praising us on the outside. She was there. She knew. People literally called us the king and queen, like power couple. Like it was a lot. But like I was just like, but I just want to go to school and I just want to get my degree and I just want to get my mind right because mentally I was just in such a terrible it was just so bad. Mental health was so bad. But like everyone else was just even people in my family were like, oh, this is amazing because I never talked about guys for real and they thought I had issues. But I was like, look, I just want to get my degree. So it was just yeah, it was just rough for me in that sense. And then finally, like, whenever we graduated by the grace of God, like just trying to pick the pieces back up on like, who am I? What do I like? And stuff like that. And just trying to get my mental health right. But I feel like that was like my biggest struggle in college was like, is there something wrong with me because I'm not interested in all these things? And like maybe not trying to fit in because I want to, but fitting in because I actually thought there's something wrong with me. I don't know how to explain that better.
Now, here's the controversial question: do you guys think that deconstruction process is important?
Bro, what you mean by deconstruction?
Elaborate.
Elaborate.
Yeah, we need some
So,
clarification.
so pretty much when the high schoolers or when the kids or when anybody gets into that college space, there's that that moment when they started like questioning certain things, and some of them they have to tear down what they had been believing for so long. So
Mhm.
pretty much they something was constructed, you kind of deconstruct it, and then trying to find like new bearings, whatever. So there's a lot of conversation that's going around that topic, especially in the Christian space. And I think you guys are Christians, so there is a part of people will be like, okay, that deconstruction process is very important because then he helps the people to help some people to kind of remove like bad theology that they have been studying. Like pretty much it takes them to the a naked space where they getting back to that baby stage where they're trying to relearn everything about God for themselves and grow. But there's another camp who say that it's not really needed in a sense where is like, first of all, what are you questioning? Are you questioning from a place where you want to learn, or you just never had that knowledge of Christ, from
Mhm.
the beginning? Are
Mm.
you just trying to reject everything? So now when you are building upon, what are you building upon what are you building? Because if you're going to that naked stage, where are you getting your new information from?
Mhm.
Who are going to be the people around you to build that thing from? So people are so the people who said that it's not important, they're talking about it's better for you, it's not bad for you to question certain things, but for you to say that, okay, to just reject everything and try to rebuild, where are you gonna go rebuild from?
Mhm.
So on your own experiences that you guys went through, maybe I don't know if you guys went as far as deconstructing when you were struggling, whatever, but being in college, and maybe you guys knew some people who went also through those stages, would you say that it's an important phase, it has been something important for you, or you think that you can struggle, yes, but you don't really need to reject everything to try to rebuild? Like, what are your takes? There's not a right or wrong answer, but I just want to know what are your takes.
Can I start?
Yeah, go ahead.
Bruh, people in college they be trifling, bro. People I just mean like I don't know. I think like I just feel like any person with mm, that might sound mean. Like with just
Hey.
common sense, like before you completely reject or accept anything, it's healthy to ask questions.
Hmm.
Like with anything, Christianity, with I don't know if I'm gonna go watch this movie. Oh, what's the movie about?
Yeah.
Like I feel like with any just like person with common sense, before you really just jump into anything, you just even if it's one question, like, am I interested? Yes. Okay, like it doesn't have to be deep. And I feel like I watch people like literally throw whole temper tantrums about Christianity. And like it was just and they would just say such negative things. And I'm not saying like to not ask questions, but I'm saying like if I have this like plate, I feel like people didn't like pick up the plate and look at it. They broke the plate with the hammer. So I feel like the deconstruction, it's the process that matters. Like you can ask questions and be open, but I think you have to be honest with your heart and with your mind and like, where's my true intention here? Am I questioning because I'm just trying to understand in a neutral sense, or am I questioning? Because that's what I did. I asked questions in a neutral sense. I'm hearing this, I'm seeing. That's why even like I mentioned, I started studying because I'm a science person. I was like, okay, if I tried my own way and it didn't work, if I apply these principles, like really try to apply these principles, and I happen to be friends with someone who decided to completely reject everything, like what's going to be the fruit of our life experiences? And I saw
Mm.
the fruit and I was like, okay, if that's the case and you're rejecting completely and bad mouthing Christianity, but your life looks like that, I don't want that. So
Hmm.
there's something in what you're saying that's not aligning, and there's something here that is. So I think the neutral questioning is healthy because it allows you to build a solid foundation. But people are out here breaking plates, or people out here destroying whole infrastructure, and all you really need to do is peel back layers and have wise counsel help you inform, not biased opinions of people who have been hurt. Because I understand church hurt, because this also came up in college too. Like I'm not saying church hurt isn't real. I'm not saying people in the church haven't hurt you and stuff, but I think we take our our experiences of church people, of flawed people, of sinful people, and we reflect that on God and his original concepts in the Bible,
Mm-hmm.
even though the application of those concepts have been misconstrued or misrepresented.
Mm.
So that's just my opinion.
Um, I can only speak on my own life. I
Yeah.
can't really speak about the general population, but I think for me, not the full like what Victoria was saying, like I think the process is healthy, but like fully rejecting, I don't think that's like healthy.
Mm-hmm.
For me personally, I'm always gonna get personal. Um, I think that I really like in college, I really stripped down like my beliefs
Mm-hmm.
because I was in a relationship with someone who was not Christian. So it was a very big change because I had my own baby beliefs, and then this other person had their own beliefs that it had its similarities, but it also had its very big differences. And so I was like questioning, like, okay, you believe this. Why do you believe this? I believe this. Why, like, am I like, is God real? Like, what is going on with like my religion and your religion? Like, I think like as Victoria said, the questions are healthy because it really, I guess for me, it really allowed me to understand Christianity better
Mm.
from like learning other people's religions as well. Because I feel like when you're just Christian, like, and you only know Christian, like, I feel like it narrows your mindset. And so, like, hearing other people's religions and why they believe what they believe kind of made me like strengthen what I believe, given like their experiences and like how they live with their religion. So I think the process is definitely important, but I don't think rejecting it completely is the right way to go.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with what they both said. I don't think you need to completely like reject it or break it down. No, because then if you do that, aren't you gonna rebuild back on what you just rejected? Like let's say later on, right? Oh, the deconstruction happens, and then you want to rebuild your faith. Well, you're gonna have to start to learn from the foundations again in order to grow and build that foundation again. So I just think it's building and applying, right? And it's like Victoria has said, you just peel the layers. You know, that's really pretty much it. So I would disagree with that personally.
Yeah, and I just want to clarify, like, if people just if people have any, like, I guess, misconception, I'm not saying like I'm imagining like you build up like a Lego structure, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's okay to like peel apart like the Lego structure, even to the very bottom, to understand, oh, how was this constructed? How is this put together? But I'm saying I think people aren't taking the Lego pieces off one by one. They're breaking the Lego pieces and then like running away from the structure. I just feel like the process and your approach is what makes a difference. Like you can ask the questions, even down to the foundation of like, was Jesus God? Yes, he is. But like you can ask those questions, but I'm just saying, like, is it coming with an openness or coming with a frustration or with an agenda to automatically like disprove based off of what you've like experienced? Like that's my like big thing.
All right, good. So now, because I know you guys gonna be like, we talked about something that, of course, for me, I think the focal point is like the strength in faith, right? That's something that's gonna, because a lot of people like they have misconception when we talk about blind faith or faith in God. They think that because you have faith you don't question. That's not true. They think because you have blind faith that means you don't ask question. That's not true, because whoever reads the Bible, if you read the Bible, you can see that the Lord is telling you, come,
Mm-hmm.
ask questions,
Mm-hmm.
come and wrestle with me. Like he's not afraid to have your question. He's not afraid for you to come and throw some feet and be like, I don't understand that, I don't like that. He is open for that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's how you build your faith, by you questioning, and then he shows you, and then your faith is strengthened, because it's like, okay, I was doubting, I came to him, I asked question, and he answered. Now I can build upon that. So I think for me, like, that part of like a lot of student leaving the faith when they get in college, I think it's because like their faith and their base is not strong. And we talked about it already. And now my question is, like, one day you guys are called. I mean, I'm I'm not God, but I think you guys gonna have your own families. You guys gonna have your own kids one day, God willing. So what do you think that your parents could have done better to help you into having that? that faith to be strong. I know that there's your own part to play, but we all start as babies. So we all start as babies and we grow under the legislation or under the under the guidance of our parents and people around us. So they help us grow, and then there's a work that we have to do ourselves too. So where do you think that some of our parents lacked on helping us having that strength? Or so what? And now that you guys one day will come to be parents, what do you think you would do to help your own child to get to that place where their faith, like, do your best, like that's what I want to say, because at the end of the day there's also, like I said, there's a part that the person themselves they have to play to strengthen their faith. But what do you think that you are going to do to put your son or your daughter in the best position to be able to strengthen their faith, so that when they step in college
Hmm.
they can withstand what's going
This is a two-part question, right?
on? Yeah.
So the first thing I would say regarding like parents, like our parents, I think one thing is allowing your kids to express the sins they're going through. I think that's one thing that was kind of hard because, like, growing up with African parents, they're a little strict. So if I say, like, oh, I'm dealing with this, let's go pray about it. Let's go into the closet and start casting out these demons. And I'm like, that's all really good. But I feel like sometimes just being able to have the conversation, like, this is what I'm struggling with. Like, how do I navigate getting through this? What is the best way to like help combat this? Like, I think that's one thing that I feel like our parents could have done better. And then for me, I guess that's something I would do for like my kids is like create that open space to where when they are going through things, they don't feel like they have to hide it. They don't feel like they have to do it like on their own, but they're able to be like, I can go to mom. She'll know what to do, or she'll help me, guide me, and get me to a place to where I have the strength to now face it on my own.
With my parents, I was a very questionable kid. I would always question everything, and one thing that they lacked that they didn't do that I had hoped they would have done was honestly explain and elaborate more and communicate that with me, because they'll be like, "Oh, going to church on Sundays is good. Why is it good? Right? Oh, reading your Bible is good. Why?" They would just say simply, "Just read your Bible because I say so." Oh, because you're talking about like that, like come on, like I'm a kid, I'm 12, I'm a like look at you like, okay, I'm gonna do it because you're telling me to do it, but I'm not doing it because I want to do it,
Yeah.
right? And I would, for me, it's also like she said, openness. Like a lot of times we're kids, like we go through things on a day-to-day basis, but we aren't even able to go to our parents. I wasn't able to go to my parents and be like, "Dad, I'm feeling this way, I'm going through this, what can I do?" I didn't have that vulnerability with him, right? Nor did I have it with my mom. She'll just come and ask me like, "Oh, are you okay?" Yeah, and she'll just take it as that. Okay. So I would say like for my kids, honestly making that open space and also explaining to them why we're doing what we're doing, why we're reading the Bible, why we're going to church, why it is that we pray, and who it is that we pray to. A lot of times it's God. Okay, God, like God, like I'm a kid. Like, can you please explain to me God? I want to know who God is.
Yeah.
Oh, he's your creator. I just learned sex ed. Right? Like they just told me sex ed. So is it that
Yeah.
like wasn't I
Yeah.
created? And then they don't explain stuff like that. But if they did, then that probably would have led me to have a stronger faith and foundation as a kid. So yeah.
That's good. I was gonna say that, and also I think what has been crucial for me, like, has been seeing. I just, I don't know. I guess I'm just like an experimental type of person. Like, if I see the evidence of something working, then I'm like, okay, so maybe there is something there. So I think like I just want to be more intentional about like really showing how living for Christ is different. Because I feel like that you can explain the why and be open, but if I'm not seeing the joy, the peace, whatever that you're talking about, even in the home itself or between like the parents, I'm gonna have a hard time believing that that's for real. Like,
Yeah.
and so I think for me, like with both of those things in combination with like, I just want to be very intentional about like investing in my relationship with God and like having like a healthy marriage. So, because that to me speaks volumes. Like a lot of us Christians, we believe that like, the picture of the marriage is like one of the ultimate depictions of Christ in the church and God's love for church. So if I can make sure that is on point, not perfect, but like you can really see the love of Christ through that, and you can really see the joy and the peace or whatever, and the kids can see that. I feel like that will, and just the quality of a life whenever you're a Christian. If I can really just display that to my kids along with the theory in my head, it's like the theoretical equation and then the actual like application of it. Like those two things together, I feel like will really can help solidify like, no, this thing is for real. Like here's a theory, here's it applied. You can see the difference. You can see how good God is in our life.
Yeah, same. I would have to agree with that. I'm also a very visual person.
That's probably why. Yeah, I'm a
Yeah.
visual person
So
too.
like,
So
if you're telling me this, you keep telling me it, I see it, but I don't see it happening. I don't
yes.
see any results. I'm a question like, so why are you doing it then?
Mm-hmm.
Why should I do it then?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And it's like, okay, so just keep doing it, and then hopefully it'll change. Mm, that's a 50-50 for me.
Yeah.
But if I see you doing it consistently and I see results, okay, I want to do that. Help me be able to do what you do,
Mm-hmm.
right? I want to start doing it. So yeah.
Good, good. I really like what you guys are talking about. Hopefully you guys do it because you're gonna be a parent one day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just like to, I like to point that because yes, there's things that our parent they, I mean, saying that they should learn. I don't think they're getting any kids soon anyway. They are all
Nope.
old, but it's just
Menopause.
yeah, it's just like understanding like eh, that's why I love the aspect of still revering our parents because we still can learn from them from their
Mm-hmm.
mistake or for things that we can see that okay this was bad. I'm not gonna say they were bad people because there's a reason why they did that. I'm sure like their parent did things
Yeah.
that also molded the way
Mm-hmm.
they decided okay my our grandparent did that wasn't good, we're gonna try to modify it for our kids because I think like at the end if you're I'm not going to talk about every parent. I know that there's some people who are just like horrible out there. We all have our issues, but I think like as a parent, the minimum they're going to try their best for their
Oh yeah,
kids.
for sure.
As much as they can, and it can be hurtful or whatever. But at the core, I think they're just trying to do something good for these people. So you guys saying that and knowing and that's when your self honesty comes very in clutch because you have to be honest with yourself, being like, okay, I went through this thing and I'm honestly recognizing that those things were not good for me.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't help me. So how can I be able to help the next generation that's coming? But if we just get stuck like, oh, they did that to me, they were wrong for that, and you're not trying to study it, then there's a good chance you won't be that helpful for the next generation because you're just living in anger and in just resentment for what you went through, but you don't really study it to see how can you be better
Mm-hmm.
for the next generation. So yeah, I pray that your resolution, you guys can do that with your kids. I'm a parent right now. There's a lot of stuff that I try to do with my kids that I learned from my parents. I was oh they did that. Like I see how that could have been detrimental to me, but I understand why they did that. What was the thought process, and now I can modify it to make sure that my kids are in a better position.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so that's yeah that was a good that's a good point. So now last question last question.
Mm-hmm.
I'm start with you because you're still in that college. Like you what? You're a sophomore,
I'm a junior.
junior.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so you're still in that space.
Okay.
So what are you doing now
Mm-hmm.
that helps you to live fully your faith while wrestling with that tension that you have on college? What
Okay.
are you doing?
What I am doing, and you gotta get in that word. Got to
That's
stay
all.
in that
Period.
word.
Period. Boo.
That not just getting in it because you could just read something, but also applying it, comprehending it, right?
Mm,
And then I had to make changes. So I had to cut people off. I had to separate myself from certain groups. And honestly, what else can I say? I really had to hone in and really pray more in my and being consistent with it, like being disciplined with it too, and pretty much yeah. If anything came around and staying strict to my boundaries, so that's what I'm doing now to help me go against what college is ultimately like helping you fight against. So like that's pretty much what I could say right now.
You're just stepping into the workforce, but I could hear from your little testimony, yeah, you struggle in college,
I did
like
real bad,
so.
real bad in college.
So what do you think? Like for you, the question is gonna be a little different because you're out of there now. So what do you think that you got from all of your struggle that's gonna help you now stepping into that workforce? Because you're gonna have coworkers. You are working in a big company and people have their beliefs, and be a corporation like that, sometimes they move with a one core belief that the corporation has. So how do you think you're gonna manage if that core belief goes against what you believe?
I think for me, from college, out of college, I'll speak on that first. When I graduated, since I did go to school out of state, it made it easier to really remove the people from my it was easy because I moved back across the country. So one thing I did do in that aspect was I did like completely change my environment.
Mm.
Um, I met friends where I live now in San Antonio who really like truly live for God, and I feel like that accountability has been very helpful. Cause like I did say in college, I was real bad, real bad. I was out every weekend, real bad. But I think the people I have now have really helped me be disciplined. Like even if like the desire to like, oh, because I could go out in San Antonio if I wanted to, but the people would be like, no, like you have set the boundaries to not do that. So we're gonna keep you accountable on that aspect. When it comes to the workforce, it's already happened to me. My coworkers, they were like, "Oh, you're Christian," and it was like they were like, "Oh, you're the church Christian." And I was like, "Here we go, here we go." And they were like, "Oh, are you the judgy type? Are you this type?" And I was like, "Okay, God, we already starting." Um, but I feel like one thing is like not forgetting like who I am as a person. That's one thing Pastor Gary always told me. He was like, when you start work, like, yeah, college, you're in your little bubble, but now you're in the real world and you have to not forget who you are. Like, if you're a child of God and you're a daughter of the Most High, you need to act like it, regardless of where you're at, who you're around. Like, that's something that you need. If you really truly believe that, you need to hold that dearly to you. And that doesn't mean disrespect people. That doesn't mean that at all. It just means how you carry yourself, how you talk, how you walk, how you even do your job. Do it as a representation of who Christ is. And so that's one
Yeah.
thing that I'm learning is that I can be bold in my faith, even though people who are going to watch this can be like, this is the same girl from college and is new creation in Christ. New
Let 'em
creation in
know.
Christ.
Let
It's
'em
getting
know.
spicy
The
out
old
here.
is
The old is
Hold
gone, the
on.
new has come.
That's
Man.
Corinthians.
Because
The blood is still the blood. Talk about it.
because I know they're going to say something, but it's okay. But I think that's one thing that I'm learning is like be bold. Be bold in my faith. And that's it. Be bold in my faith.
Yes, ma'am.
Nice.
That's on period.
So you now here.
Number one buster.
You've been in the workforce for quite now, and you're about to. You like I said, your thing is even a little bit more deep because you're about to get like that master in theology. You're about to be ordained, and you know what I'm saying. And
Chile.
how, yeah, what are you doing currently that help you to really wrestle with that? Because like even being in a space like engineering, which is funny because before like science was the our forefather in science. A lot of them they were coming from a faith position to prove
Yep.
that the Lord God has done everything. That's why we can explain these things. But now we are in the reverse, where like a lot of scientists now it's trying to disprove God and everything like that. So you are in that space like in engineering and all that stuff. So yeah, what are the steps that you're taking? What are you doing, and what do you think you should do to keep your faith strong in that environment?
Yeah, so I feel like God strategically has placed me in like the in betweens because I feel like a lot of people, at least in my environment, what I've seen is that people are like, I'm clinging to science, not religion, and like I feel like there are just a lot of concepts that we come up with in science that the Bible has already talked about. Like I've been thinking about some of my friends who went to therapy in college, and they talk like one of my friends like she came back with like these index cards and like having to like think about positive things and like having positive connotation. Just people talk about like good energy and good vibes and like having a positive mindset. But like I just said before, like Philippians 4:8, that's the Bible. Whatever is honorable, true, trustworthy, think on these things. So it's the same, but we say it's science. But it's like it's God is giving us these concepts, these scientific things that explain His nature. Like it all points back to Him. And so
Yeah.
I feel like what I'm trying to do is really understand the Bible, which is part of the reason why I got this degree, but also be open minded and really understand like what is the science saying, and then helping people who are clinging to one side or the other. Because you can also be overly about the Bible and be like, oh, all science is wrong. It's like, no, it's not. Because if God is the creator of the universe, He created science. So like, there's also correlation on both sides. So I'm trying to like completely understand both and show both parties who are on the extremes like how they relate and how it's all just a reflection of God's nature. And so for me to do that, I have close friends who are in the science field who aren't Christian. Like, and I love to hear their perspective and just actually listen because they provide new insight. Then I'm also very heavily involved in my church. Friends who just got Bible degrees and don't know a lick of science, but also hearing their perspective and hearing their thoughts. And then me, wrestling with, I have a couple of friends who are also in the in between, like wrestling with them together just to try and continue bridging that gap. So I think it's like placing myself in all three environments to continue hearing the voices and the perspectives. And then like with God and even with school too, like using that to understand, okay, God, how do I now make this all make sense? For myself and then for like the ministry has called me to, I think is the biggest thing. And like something else, this is not on the same page, but I think just like advice in general, I guess even for like college kids, young adults or whatever, I think something that we should pray more is for God to show us the beauty of living for Him. Because I think the problem is sometimes like we have this idea that like, I have to live for God and I'm gonna have to deny this, and like it's gonna be boring. But it's like if we really understood and really could see and like taste and see that the Lord is good, is what the word says. Like if we really saw that living for Christ genuinely is better, like it's not something I'm trying to convince myself, but it's something I'm sure of. When all these different like temptations and things come up, like you really won't feel some type of way to say no, because it's like I actually don't think that's better. So like think about like eating like your favorite food. I don't know, if you really love burgers and you really are craving a burger and someone's like, you know what, I want to offer you like, and God is like a Hat Creek burger. Maybe you really love Hat Creek or something. And like, I don't like Taco Bell. And someone's like, hey, I'm going to give you some Taco Bell. If you already have access to this Hat Creek burger, it's not even like, I'm not trying to convince myself to eat Hat Creek. I'm like, no, this burger's just way better. I don't want that Taco Bell. Take it. You can eat it if you want. You're going to blow up the bathroom later. That's not my problem, you know?
Yeah.
So I feel like, I just think like young adults, college kids, even myself, like something that we really need to understand is that like, let's stop trying to convince ourselves that life for Christ is better. And let's just start praying that God opens up our eyes to see that it actually is. It would make life so much easier. Saying no would be a cakewalk because I don't even want that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, another thing I would have to add for myself is who I hang around with. Having a good grounded friend group, like Manila had mentioned, is it can really make or break college depending on who you are. So I would say that for me, it's like sticking to people who will help me and edify me whenever I'm let down and I can't do it on myself. They're there to hold me accountable and also help me pick me up, as the book says, where two or three are gathered, I am there. For it is better to be with a friend than alone.
Yeah.
And don't do college alone.
Don't.
Try it. You can't do it. You can't do it.
You're gonna go crazy.
I tried. I failed.
That's that's really good. Hey, I really like this. You know, we can keep going, but this Negro out here needs to go.
Unfortunately,
He needs to
Oh,
go.
he's trying to break the
sorry.
mic
You
too.
see?
See?
You see?
Whoa.
You see?
Whoa. It ain't even like that.
This man had to go work, and I know the ladies have to go do something. But I'm gonna have you guys back here. My heart feeling. But I'm gonna have you guys back here. Some little update to see how you guys are doing, especially for these two right there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
How you guys
for
are
sure.
doing? But this was a very dope conversation. So yeah, look, your last words. What do you do? Hey guys, that's that dude right
Oh
there.
yeah.
Oh
Anchor
Cop the
Closet.
merch. Cop the
Cop the
merch.
merch.
Guys, that's that dude right there. He has some. He has some. So like, what do you have to say before we leave? That and talk about a little bit your merchandise, what you do, man. And
First and foremost, thank you for having me on the podcast. This is my first time here.
yes, sir.
Shout out to Yajadeon.
Yerp.
Secondly, he's also my mentor, so he's a man of wisdom.
Hey, we try.
Hey, yes, sir.
What do I know?
Secondly, yes, Anchored Closet. It is my clothing brand. You know, it's just out there to empower young adults, empower anybody, honestly, to walk righteously in the Lord and knowing that you don't have to show too much to be in fashion.
Period.
So let's get it. Let's go.
get it.
There you go. There you go. There you go. What you do, Manuela? Do you have anything on the side that you do? What do you want people to?
I take flicks. I take pics. If y'all need a photographer, let me know.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And one last
Ooh.
thing, seek Jesus always.
Ooh.
Keep God first.
There you go. There you go. We know already about this one here, but
Gang,
do you have
gang.
anything coming for us?
Gang, gang. Yeah. So, well, two things. One, at the end of November, I was able to, help host with God's Help a Music Art Show. So the recap video of that is coming up. It's coming out. And then the EP that I said would be released at the beginning of December will not be released most likely beginning of January. So holla at your girl. It's called Exodus. And it's a good vibe. We out here vibing. Follow me on all the socials. We be doing music and fun stuff. So
Let's get it.
Yeah, so guys, for me, you know what I'm saying, I'm just gonna try to bring more content like this, trying to bring people to talk. Hey, look, all I'm doing is asking questions. All I'm doing is asking questions.
because he wants to see where it goes.
There you go. That's the name of the podcast. Let's see where it goes. I ask questions and you guys saw where it went. You know what I'm saying? So stay tuned. We're gonna come back for more content. May God bless you guys. Have a great day. And guys, thank you for coming today, guys.
You heard?
You heard it.
We out.
Walk one.
Time.